Welcome to The Reluctant Medium, where we cover the gamut of out there conversations. With an open mind and a curious heart, we want to talk about it all, from psychic phenomena and energy medicine to beings from other star systems and out-of-body experiences. You'll find a great balance between grounded science-backed topics and others that science hasn't quite caught up to yet. I'm your host, Dr. Maria Rothenburger, a psychotherapist by trade and a reluctant spirit baby communicator. And hey, even though I'm a medium, I'm not buying everything folks are selling. I just have a voracious appetite to know more about what I call the world of the weird. Join us on your favorite podcast platform or watch on YouTube at The Reluctant Medium. I'll see you there. Well then, 6 months of a hiatus with no announcement. I think that's long enough, don't you? Hi, I'm Dr. Maria Rothenburger. In case you've forgotten, I am the Reluctant Medium, your host for this podcast. And yep, this is a brand new one. And the last one that I did was 6 months ago. Whew, this episode is chock full of what the hell happened and all of the new stuff that is on its way for 2025. I'm going to dive right in, man, because this is like a banner stinking year already. And this is publishing on January 6th, 2025. Let's dive right in. First of all, January 6th, a memory in the US that is not always associated with something fabulous, but A, it's my mom's birthday. So happy birthday, Mom. B, it is the day, today, that the Reluctant Medium TV show is finally stinking out. You can stop this podcast episode right now and go over to newrealitytv.com and check out the first 3 episodes of The Reluctant Medium for free. Yeah, go do it. I give you total permission to do that. And then you can come back to this podcast episode another time. Don't forget to listen in because I got a great tip for you for the new year. Every new year, I do a great ritual. And if you're not on my newsletter, which why not? But if you're not on my newsletter, then you haven't heard this already. But if you do get my newsletter, you've seen the worded version of what I'm going to demonstrate for you today. So, okay, that is the very first announcement among many, but it's probably the biggest one. I have been working on this TV show forever, it feels like, and it's finally published. Let me explain to you what has been happening for the last 6 months and why the hell I just fell off the face of the podcast world. I've had many people asking me, where are you? Where's your podcast? And the fact of the matter is, I have been inundated, just completely inundated and overwhelmed with all of the things, to be honest with you. Doing the podcast, doing the TV show, single mom, taking care of a house, taking care of pets, working my normal work, right? Because this is unpaid. The TV show is not paid. The podcast is not paid. I still have to, bring in an income. So I have been inundated. And the last half of 2024 was filled with not just work-related shit, but personal shit that has been really hard. So I just want to get probably the hardest thing. It's definitely the hardest thing out of the way. Last fall, November 4th to be exact, my beloved stepdad passed away. Yes, he had been sick for a long while, and had been suffering for a long while. But it's still so odd when you just saw somebody, right? And then they pass away. Now, people might ask, well, you're a medium. Don't you just get to hang out with them anyway? And yeah, that does not mean that there isn't grief, because it's not the relationship in the same way, right? So anytime that a relationship changes, there's grief involved. And yep, I talked to him in spirit when he was still in the hospital. I believe that folks are in and out of the body when they are looking to transition or when they are on their way to transitioning. And so I was able to connect with him in that way and converse with him about our personal life, he and I, and our personal relationship and other things too. And it's a sweet, really sweet gift to be able to do that. And it still doesn't make the pain any less. It's also hard to watch my mom go through a really rough time. So the last half of 2024 was filled with pretty profound illness on his part and being able to take care of the folks around all of that, as well as myself. I have a young kiddo who is very attached to his papa. They're besties. And so being able to explain to him what was going on and he still doesn't understand it's a challenge. It's an ongoing challenge. And so my brain and my energy has been filled a lot with that. That said, there is even more. Yeah. I'm going to say in advance, thank you for your well wishes. Even if you are sending them only energetically, I appreciate every single one. So thank you. So I am going to go back to how much time and energy has been spent on the things, all of the things, personal and business and public, a lot of things going on that really took up my headspace, and I just couldn't manage all of the things. I couldn't even get on to explain to you all what was happening because I was so inundated with all of the things. So my apologies. And there are going to be some changes going forward, which is part of what's happening in this episode. I'll be explaining to you about what you can expect in the future for the Reluctant Medium. And the first thing is real heavy focus on the Reluctant Medium TV show. And again, I gave you the website verbally, but I will link up everything as well. So you can just click on the links below if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you are listening, you can find the links in the show notes. So newrealitytv.com. Now, some of you who are active listeners or older listeners who've been around for a while, you might remember that I was a part of a different network called the Ethereal Network. And this is part of the craziness that happened last year. The Ethereal Network is still existing, but when I first joined it, it was run by different it was run by some people that I really was very connected to. And the head person ended up leaving. And then the next two head people left. I was like, friggin' A. Well, it turns out the people that I was really closest to decided to create their own network called New Reality TV. And here we are. They pivoted, they turned things around so quickly and created this beautiful platform to be able to view these very high vibration shows. Now, that is the point of New Reality TV, I should say. This is no fear-mongering. This is no low vibration, low energy. This is no negative shit that we see day in and day out. Well, I don't, because I don't watch the news. But if you are privy to the news, or if you're watching the news all the time or reading the news all the time, it can get really downtrodden. It can make one feel quite depressed, actually, and there's a lot of fear-mongering. New Reality TV is the opposite. It's not ignoring the shit that's happening on the planet right now. It's just helping to infuse the shit with some good vibes. With a way to move through hard times with a little bit greater ease, with a little bit more resilience. Because let's face it, we're going through a pretty rough time, aren't we? So check out New Reality TV. Obviously, my show isn't the only one on there, but go see mine first. There are a lot of beautiful minds working their magic on New Reality TV. I think that you're going to enjoy it a whole lot. So click those links below and have at it. All right. Oh, wait a second. I need to play the official trailer. Here we go.
It's happening.
It's in the air. The time is now.
We're all waking up.
We're waking up.
We're all waking up.
It's all shifting. New vibrations. It's you.
It's you.
It's me. It's all of us.
Together.
A new time.
A new day.
A new energy.
A new energy.
A new reality.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
NewRealityTV.com.
Isn't that a cool little trailer? I hope you enjoy, and I hope you go and check it out as soon as you're able. It's going to be such a good time. All right. I'm going to make a couple of new announcements, or not a couple, a lot of freaking new announcements, what's happening in 2025 for the Reluctant Medium. And then I will share with you a ritual that I do absolutely every year, or that I have done for the last, I want to say 7 years or so, 5 to 7 years I've been doing this ritual. I have changed it up a few times to make it more fine-tuned for myself, and I encourage you to do the same. All right, so the very first thing that I'm going to announce is a new homepage on my website. So in my work, I have kept my spiritual side, energy healing, spiritual work, mediumship, psychic stuff, completely separate from counseling. And that was on purpose. It's because of licensing and all that stuff. I feel like a lot of entities who govern licensure are quite, stiff. And I have run into a few therapists myself who have begun incorporating a lot more energy work, a lot more intuitiveness. I had a therapist myself who was also an astrologer, and he would incorporate that into our work together. I found it so incredibly valuable. And I thought, why would I keep this from somebody who's asking for it? And so I decided to incorporate all of it. If somebody asks for spiritual work or intuitive work alongside traditional psychotherapy, I don't see any reason. In fact, I feel like it's a little unethical to deny that. So I have begun to, scarily, nervously, a little bit, incorporate that into my work. But I am finding it so supportive and helpful for people just in the counseling realm. Now, people outside of the counseling realm have always received the benefit of spiritual work from me, so I will not stop offering that. So my website is drmariarothenberger.com. Rothenberger is Burger. And it has all of the things that I offer on there, well organized. You can find a lot of good content on there around what I offer. And also at the very bottom of that homepage, some frequently asked questions that might be useful in deciding if you'd like to work with me. So go check that out. Okay, another new announcement is I had a group site, a free membership site. Well, membership site it's a kind of an oxymoron when you say free membership. It was a totally free, like, social website called Miracles Happen Community, and it's still there. But I am transitioning everybody over to a Patreon account. Now, here's the thing. I am working on the idea that I am moving into an abundant place. I am actually quite, I feel quite abundant, actually. I feel quite lucky and quite abundant. And because I have been putting out so much energy and literally had to not do a podcast for 6 months, couldn't even announce it, I have realized that I am putting a lot of energy into things that do not bring back any kind of reciprocal reward. And I feel like relationships need to be reciprocal. And so I am going to continue giving my energy in this way for a small token over on Patreon. So I haven't decided exactly what all the tiers are yet. That'll probably be announced in my newsletter and in a future podcast episode, but I am beginning to transition that now. That'll be probably complete by February. In that membership or in that community, I was connecting with everybody monthly for a quick hour-long Q&A and a little mini reading. That will still exist to some degree. It's not going to be exactly the same, but it'll still exist. So there will absolutely be some free content, some free connection, but there's going to be a lot of new, potentially paid stuff as well, especially for readings, because a lot of energy is used when I give readings. Maybe I shouldn't say this yet because it's not even totally being developed, but I'm going to be having merchandise, things that you can purchase, like a coffee mug or t-shirt or sweatshirt, hoodies, those kinds of things. Oh my God. I would actually love to know what you would like to see in that shop. It's going to have reluctant medium stuff on there, quotes that I have said, things that I drive home constantly in my work, both in the mental health side and in the spiritual side. And so I think that's just going to be a lot of fun. And I would love to hear a line from you if you are if you have an idea of what you would like to see. Drop me a line at info@drmariarothenberger.com, or it might be easier at maria@thereluctantmedium.us. Either way, you can get a hold of me, or comment on YouTube, or send me an Instagram message. Now, I will be honest, I do not frequent messages on social media. In fact, there's usually an auto pop-up that'll tell you, just please email me. But I have an assistant, the lovely, amazing Stellar Bailey, who will likely respond. Okay, there's that. Oh my gosh, that's kind of a big thing too, right? There's so many new big things happening already in 2025. All right, now, even though I am doing this beautiful podcast episode for you, I should tell you that podcasting is going to change a little bit for me. I'm going to say I have been doing podcasting now since 2016. That is 9 years of podcasting, but I have decided that I will be running actually some live content. Now, what that's looking like right now, and this could change in the future, is that I am inviting folks to an Instagram live event, and I get to interview and chat with brilliant minds, and then I will post that later as a podcast episode. Obviously, this podcast episode is not an Instagram live. It is pre-recorded, but I will probably even be doing solo work on Instagram live and then publishing them as a podcast later. Now, the reason for that is, A, it keeps me accountable because I have to show up at a live that I announce, right? B, you are able to show up and chat with me live, ask your questions live. I get the sense too from my guides that there are probably going to be some kind of readings, spontaneous readings during those Instagram lives. I just get the sense that that's going to be happening. So I trust my guides. They boss me around all the time. So I guess I just have to follow up and do what they say. So I get the sense that that's going to be happening too. Right now, the Instagram lives are scheduled for Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. on the West Coast of the U.S. It's pretty late for most of the world, except for Hawaii. It's pretty late for the rest of the world. And so I am considering changing the date and time on that. That will be announced on Instagram in my newsletter, on future podcast episodes too. So look out for that. But I wanted to at least announce to you that that's probably going to be a change that's happening on the podcast front. Okay, I have one more announcement for you. That's it. One more. And it's a really, 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 really big one. I want to introduce to you my new witchy familiar, the solid black cat, Blackberry Smoke. For those who are watching on YouTube, you're viewing a gorgeous photo of my beautiful Blackberry Smoke kitty. I believe that he was gifted to us by my stepdad in spirit. He had a cat named Mr. Lucky. And I had just been thinking about a cat over and over and over. And I kept asking him, will you please bring a cat our way? And randomly, one day we went to the Humane Society and this cat just, struck a chord in us. And I found it really interesting. Later, I made the connection that one of my shamanic spirit guides is a black panther. And here is this solid black cat. Totally, his nose, everything is just black. Showing up. He just showed up and stole our hearts, and he's awesome and perfectly playful still at his age. He's a little bit of an older cat. Playful and affectionate, and we just adore him. So we are stoked. That is the last and the largest announcement of this podcast episode. So there you go, Blackberry Smoke. And Blackberry Smoke, for those who don't know, it's my favorite band. And we travel everywhere, my boyfriend and I, to go see Blackberry Smoke. That's one of the things that we did in 2024. I saw them 8 times. Yeah, I'm a little bit obsessed. Well, but just like tiny, just a tiny bit. Yeah, Blackberry Smoke. If you don't know about them, oh my God, go check them out. Please, please. Okay, now, it is time to talk with you about the New Year ritual, a ritual that I do every single year that is shockingly accurate. I know that I'm a medium. I know that I'm a psychic medium, but there's just a delight every single time that I do this ritual at how accurate it is. And I'm going to tell you that you can have the same result. You will have the same result, because when I do this ritual, I am like 99% unsure how it's actually going to turn out. And then it all makes sense. Sometimes mid-year it'll make sense, but it all makes sense by the end of the year. It makes complete and utter sense why I got the cards that I got when I do the tarot part or the oracle part of this ritual. Okay, let me explain what this is. Now, I'm going to give credit to the great Leoni Dawson at leonidawson.com. She's in Australia. She's a fantastic witchy, woo-woo, business, entrepreneurial fabuloso. I can't say enough good stuff about her. But I got the idea from her. She has a planner, a yearly planner that she's an artist, and she drew and created art around her whole planner. It's so awesome. But her prompts, her journal prompts, are what I fashioned my ritual after. And so I just want to give her the credit for starting this whole thing. Now, I do my ritual in a bullet journal every year. Here's all these resources I'm giving you. Bulletjournal.com. I am not an affiliate of any of these people. I just find their tools super fucking useful. So I use them all the time. Now, this is definitely the 5th year at least that I've used the bullet journal. It has organized my life miraculously. And I don't know that I would have gotten through, honestly, 2024 without a bullet journal. And I used it. There were times when I fell off the bullet journal wagon and my life just became utter chaos. And so every time I got back on, it became far easier to move through life. All right. So I use a bullet journal every year, and I'm actually going to show some of these pages, right? I'm going to let you into a piece of my life. if nothing else, if you are a newcomer to my podcast, you're going to learn real quick that girl is vulnerable. I am open and vulnerable, and I share my shit in the hopes that it brings a little light to other people, right? Like, you are definitely not stinking alone. And here is this person over here. I'm still just a human, even though, I'm a psychic, I'm a medium, I have a doctorate, whatever. All of that is all freaking labels. I'm still a human being trying to live on this world, on this planet, with this edgy energy and trying to make sense of it all and just being okay sometimes, right? Okay, so here's what I do. Every beginning of the year, and this time I did it on, I believe I actually did this on January 1st. I do a closing ceremony for the year before and an opening ceremony for the current year moving forward. So the closing ceremony, for me, is gratitude. Is gratitude for all the shit and all the loveliness that happened in the former year. Because I feel like having gone through fertility issues, and if you know my history or know that story, you'll know how freaking dark it was. It was really, really dark. But there was still an experience of what's called post-traumatic growth. And all in my book, Transcending Infertility, which you can get on Amazon, #1 Amazon bestseller. It really created in me a sense of wonder at how life was, how much I missed by being in that gloom, in that darkness. And it really propelled in me a sense of, shit, I better pay attention to life right now, as it is right now, because I will never get this moment back, ever. And so now, even when there are shitty things, I pay attention as much as I can. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes I'm lost in thought or grief or whatever. Totally okay, because again, human, yay, welcome to the world of freaking being human. Yeah. So my closing ceremony is a sincere, true gratitude for the year prior. I talk about, or I write about briefly, difficult things, beautiful celebrations, both the light and the dark. They offer contrast for each other. And I find it rather soothing in a way. In this case, for 2024, I did not realize how crazy the year was. And, for those who know, I went through a divorce at the end of 2023, or a separation, and then the divorce was final last year. But that was crazy enough. And then to have everything else tail on the end of that, it was just a really rough year. It was a lot full of stuff, but there were also beautiful things. I saw blackberry smoke 8 freaking times last year. Like, beautiful things, right? So there are many things to celebrate. I write them all down. First of all, I forgot to say that I do create a ritual environment, right? I do this actually on my bed, because for me, my bed feels quite sacred and safe. I light a candle. And I have all of my tools around me. That is some crystals, my tarot cards that I chose for the opening ceremony reading. I have my bullet journal. So anything else that feels quite supportive and loving to me, I gather it all on my bed. Oh, this year I also had my mini dachshunds with me. I'm also a dog mom. I love my mini dachshunds. Dexter is 18. He just turned 18 in August. And Prince is now 4 or 3. He's 3. He'll be 4 this year. So I had them with me too. They feel loving and supportive. And so they were there on my bed with me too. Okay. So I have all of my beautiful, loving ritual tools on my bed with me. I create an energy of gratitude, and I write down the things that I would like to briefly remember from the year prior. And I end it with, I now release you with love. And it's just a simple page in my bullet journal. That's what it looks like. Very simple. Oh, yeah, that's for those who are watching. And if you're not, go to YouTube. This is all free on YouTube. P.S. I will probably have snippets of the Reluctant Medium TV show on YouTube. Just little brief snippets for you to see so you can kind of see what it's like. Okay, now, the next part of this ritual every new year is invoking the next year. Invoking. And there are several questions that lead this invocation, and they go like this. I think this is actually directly from Leoni Dawson. I may have added my own twists, but this is really inspired by her work. Okay, she asks, and I ask. It's actually not questions, if I'm honest. Yeah, finish these sentences. This year, I want to feel. This year, I want to let go of. This is the year I want to give myself the gift of. This year, I promise myself that. And this will be the year that. So finish all of those sentences. Now, I add on the end of this, I don't think this is a Leoni Dawson thing. I add on the end of this, how did it go? Along with a spot to add the date. Because sometimes I'll review these like mid-year. Sometimes I'll just review them at the very end of the year. And so I make notes. How did it go? How well did you attend to those intentions that you put into your invocation for the next year? Then I create a section in my bullet journal. Again, very simple. I don't get super flowery with the bullet journal. Lots of people do, especially artists. I tried that and I got crazier. So I keep the bullet journal work extremely simple, very simple, because that's what I need. A couple of years ago, you might remember I talked about my theme for the year being simplicity. This is why I need simplicity in my life. Okay, so here's what I put next in my year invocation. I put not goals, not resolutions, intentions. What do I intend to do? Now, I believe Leoni Dawson says goals. I set intentions. That's the best energy that I can come to into a new year. What do I intend to do? Because then I've made a decision. And maybe it's my Taurian self, but once I freaking make a decision, man, that's it. Nobody is getting in my way. I am bulldozing right through that shit. I am making it happen. So here are my intentions separated into sections. Mind intentions. So that's the thing. Those are all the things that affect the mind. Body intentions, soul intentions, relationship intentions, and business intentions. So that's how I organize my intentions for the year. I'm able to split everything up that way. And of course, I do have one big intention for the year, and I'll get to that at the very end. But that's how I separate my intentions for the year. Okay, then comes the fun part. Woohoo! That is the tarot reading. Now, if you are not a card puller or a card reader, you do not have to worry about this at all. It's still fun to do. And actually, I encourage folks to come to it with a sense of play because, God, everything's better when there's a sense of play. But you do not have to know what you're doing. I encourage you to it's even better when you don't know what you're doing, to be honest with you, because you're just open. Like, okay, well, let's see what happens. What happens if I get this new toy and I push this button? I don't know. Let's see what happens. That's how you work this. All right, so I'm going to show you the card spread that I do. And for folks who are not watching, I will try to explain this verbally as much as possible. But here is what it looks like. And I will, actually, you know what? It's probably better if I just put up a nice photo for you. So I'm going to do that right now. All right. So basically how this spread looks, I'll try to explain this verbally. There are 7 cards. And the first and the second cards are on the east and the west part of a circle, right? So they're all laid out in a circle, and the 1 and 2 cards are on the east and west side. 3 and 4 are on the southwest and the northeast corners. Okay. Difficult to explain. You got to see it. And then the 5 and 6 cards are on the southeast and the northwest corners. The number 7 card is smack in the middle. Okay? Here's what the cards mean. So this is what you do. Now, if you don't know how to clear a deck, choose a deck, clear a deck, shuffle a deck, that's all going to be in a mini lesson moving forward. But I do feel like, and I'll link it up in the show notes, I've done a series on tarot and oracle card readings and how to do them. I believe I have. And if I haven't, oh my God, that's going to be an upcoming episode. But I'm also going to be doing a mini class on that, on how to do those things. So this is with the intention, or excuse me, the basics already being completed, that you have chosen a deck intuitively, that you have cleared it, that you have shuffled it right or well, and that you've chosen 7 cards. Then you lay them out in this form that I talked about, in this spread, they call it. And here's what the cards mean. The first card is the sunset. What are you letting go of from the previous year? The second card is horizon. What to expect in the coming year. The third card is obstacle, the main challenge for this year. The fourth card is strength, what to harness to address said obstacle. Number 5, advice. What are the lessons that you'll be implementing from last year? Number 6, navigation. Your overall guidance for 2025 or the upcoming year. And number 7, clarity. Your personal theme of the year. Okay, so now what I do in my bullet journal is I pull a card for each of those themes or ideas. And then I write down what the card is, what the meaning is, and what my personal interpretation is. Now, if you don't know tarot or the oracle deck that you're using, it does not really matter. Just write it down. In fact, in the beginning, I knew nothing about tarot cards or oracle cards. I just wrote down literally what the book said that came with the deck. I promise you, at the very end of the year, it will all make sense. And you'll start learning how to interpret and move through this spread and this reading yourself. All right. And then after each card and its interpretation, I add again a comment or how did it go? And I put a date right there so I know when I reviewed that card. Now, Leoni Dawson does, and this might resonate with you more, Leoni Dawson pulls a card for every month. And I used to do that too, a card for January, a card for February. But I quickly found out, well, over 2 years, I found out that the cards sort of meld together, that the event or the theme of January's card could have happened in like November or June. And I just found that it's much easier to do an overall spread for the whole year for me. Now, it might make more sense to you to do a monthly pull, and that's completely fine. All right. Now, after I do my reading, that is the end of my opening ceremony. I forgot to mention that I also call in during that initial setup. I call in my spirit guides and any angels and any other ancestors or beings who wish to be here with me for that ceremony. That is my ritual for myself, for all of the readings that I do, for shamanic Reiki, for everything that I do. I always pull in these souls or ask them to be present. So at the end of this opening ceremony, I thank them. I thank my guides. I thank my shamanic guides. I thank my ancestors. I thank whoever is here. And I then close this ceremony. I say it's closed. This ceremony is now closed. And I blow out my candle. And I move on with the rest of my evening with lighter air around me and a lighter step and what do they say? A lighter spring in my step? I don't know. What is the saying? You know what I mean. And I live my life. I continue living my life. I complete my bullet journal. I set it all up for the year, and I begin with January and putting in all of the things that I'll be doing on January 1. Today is January 6th, and podcast episode is now checked off. Thank you very much. All right. I hope that this has already been a beautiful new year for you. If not beautiful, at least calm, at least neutral. I'm wishing that for you as I wished for myself last year as I was going through all of the hard stuff and all of the beauty. I hope that you're able to integrate all of the hard stuff and all of the beauty yourself last year and the year coming up and forever. How about that? How about forever? All right. I will see you next time. Don't forget to check out newrealitytv.com. I'll see you over there. Take care. Thanks for joining the Reluctant Medium podcast today. I hope you found this episode helpful. You can connect with me at thereluctantmedium.us, where you can find lots of free content as well as readings. All links are also in the show notes. Thanks so much again for joining today. I will see you next time.